talking about quickly about the benefits of the companion. You can see this can be a little bit overwhelming, can be, oh my goodness, how do I figure out what element is what? And the companion software, which is AI-based, can help us in 3 areas. One is to increase the completeness of the elements. Yeah, we are trained, we can listen, we can take notes, but sometimes something slips through that may be important during the notes taking, and the companion is like, oh, I heard it, here it is. And you have a much more complete picture. Also, it's like they suggest elements like by a third party. Sometimes you may have misunderstood something. You thought it was a constraint, but it was more a push, or vice versa. And the companion that provides his own interpretation of an element. And sometimes that's great because you haven't thought about this from another angle. And the third one is increased speed in producing data. And I would say this is a huge benefit for people who are new to this process, because it takes some time to learn how to read, how to listen, and make the right decisions about the items. So I think it can help people greatly to get up to speed on the whole model, because you can learn from looking at the data and what the AI companion did. There's a disclaimer now. You should never run it on autopilot. It's like, okay, I'll feed them the data from the interview or transcript from somewhere else and let it do it. There needs to be some education in order to do this right. You are still in the driver's seat. That's why we call it the companion. Of course, we want the human being, the one who's driving the process, being in the driver's seat and being accountable for the results. Any questions?
What my question's going to be, is there a way that you can associate, you know what I'm going to ask. Is there a way you can associate some potential like opportunity costs or revenues or something like to doing a process like this? Potential ROI, anything like that can be tied to this? Because I just love this so much.
That's a great question. I do have an Excel spreadsheet where I try to come up with numbers. It's incredible. I mean, if you compare this process, even without the AI solution, to like the traditional way you would approach this. And John, you may also chime into that, because you have done projects with it. You save so much time, I think, in the preparation, in the whole setup of interviews, because it is more or less a standardized process that we go through when interviewing customers. You may customize it, whether it's a B2B or B2C solution or customer. But I would say you save probably 90% of time versus the usual way of conducting interviews, creating transcripts, coding transcripts, and then writing a report. And John, do you have a...
Well, here's the context, Patty. I recently did a post on time to product market fit for B2B organizations. And time to market fit can range from 3 to 5 years. So think about that cost versus a customer-driven approach to finding product market fit. So if you take a customer-centric versus a product-centric, can you reduce 3 to 5 years to 1 to 2 years to 6 months to 9 months? I mean, that's a very simple ROI calculation in terms of time to product market fit. So it obviously depends upon the context and whether you're thinking big picture, time to product market fit, whether you're thinking, how do you ensure you're building the right features, right? If you start product centric, right, you're building features based upon a product manager's desire versus what helps facilitate customer progress. So that's a very hit or miss exercise when you start product centric.
Yeah, that's got me thinking that you could even look at it and look at conversion rates. How quickly did people pick this up, and then how long did they stay with it versus, where you see that bump up when something comes out and then it comes right back down. If this is something where you could see it come out and like continue to go upward, that's something that could be a really strong way to financially show how this is such a better way to do it. Like, I just get it, but how you have to prove it to other people. So
Right.
And there's if you take the quadrants of the wheel of progress, right? There's metrics associated with each quadrant, right? So, quadrant 1 is all awareness based, right? Quadrant 3 is all conversion based. So you can even think about it as you envision how do you take action on the insights gained. There's kind of many business cases in each quadrant in terms of what you do first or why.
mm-hmm.
But that's like the micro, right? From your how might we statements, we can do one of n things, right? Which direction do we pick? Because we could do things tactically or strategically. So that's its own kind of prioritization ROI calculation, which kind of talks about different prioritization methods of which jobs to tackle first and why. And that becomes your core differentiation in terms of how you deliver.
Right on. So I have to look at the clock. So let's jump into the presentation. Running the AI software to do the analysis takes some time. I already prepared that, and I'm going to jump from tab to tab to the next step to show the next step, because otherwise it would take too long. So this is the start screen. You can see the 5 steps of the process. Not all of the steps, as I said, are supported. We mainly focus on step number 2, which is processing data from the interviews. And we have a little bit on step number 5. We can quickly create like a campaign, like a Facebook campaign or a marketing plan. And that's also what I'm going to show you. So you would set up a project here in that box. I already created one, which is called the cargo bike project, but it's very easy. You type in something, and you can either upload an audio file, and then the AI is going to create a transcript, and it does it. I mean, superb. It's like, wow, I've never seen a better transcription service. Even if the audio quality wasn't good, if people had accents or whatsoever, it's amazing to me. It's amazing. It's not 100% perfect, but it's really, really solid work. You can create a PDF and upload it if you have one. So I'm not going to do this because I already created the transcript, and I'm going to jump to the next page. And now you should see the transcript. Trying to make this maybe a little bit bigger. And we don't store it in the system because we want to make sure we store as little data as possible. This is your data, it's not our data. But you can of course you can go in this box, Control A, Control C, and save it in a Word document. You don't have to, but if you like, if you care, you can do this. We also can translate any PDF based transcript into another language. So I think there are 56 languages that we can translate it to. And this is really funny when you have like a mix of customers. We have, let's say we have English customers, we have German customers, French customers. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. It's like, we don't care. I mean, we can have interviews from all over the world. We can process it. We can make it, can translate them all in English and then use with the data. So we have the transcript. The next step would then be clicking on the analysis button and find elements. And I'm going to make this also a little bit bigger so you can see how it found the elements. And Yoni, our developer, told me this is it's like a data standard. That's why the formatting is a little bit funny. here, so it can be easily copied and pasted into another system and being processed. So what we, of course, want to work with is the wheel of progress. And you can see again the project list, and we have a little statistic button, so we can actually see how productive we were in the interview. The system found like 262, and you can see it kind of broken up by these 12 elements. So whenever someone asks you, hey, you're a qualitative researcher, how productive are you? You can say, hey, this is what we found. I can even express this in numbers, something we have never been able to do before. If we have clients, we can tell them, hey, we can even promise you that in this project, we're going to find that amount of data. So let's click like on the habits as an example. And it brings up the first quadrant, which is at top left. And you see a list of habits, at least the interpretation of the AI solution, whatever is like a habit. And you can still, you're in control of the data. You can scroll down and say, okay, for example, maybe there's something that is not a habit or which we don't care about, and can say, okay, like convincing others about the benefits of using cargo bike, probably not a habit, so I'm going to delete it. You can add items that you forgot, or you can shift any of these existing items from, let's say, let's just do it as an exercise, researching where to park the cargo bike. Let's say this sounds more like a customer job, and then I can move it from habits to customer job and save it, and then it's gone, then it's another category. So this is how you manage the data. I'm gonna try another one. It's like events. There are lots of events here actually. So I can get rid of some, maybe adding some other events, and then I also can run a CPD analysis. The AI is looking for telling a story about the events or any of these other elements that we want to analyze, and they come up with a nice story. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and it talks about, in this case, all the events that happened. So it's also nice to show to other people, say, hey, look at this story. You can look at the events. So this is the data analysis part. It's a projection to the wheel of progress because that's our reference. And of course, then you want to process the data. So in terms of the workflow, you want the data back onto a whiteboard where you can work with it. And right now, Mural is the only whiteboard supported. And then you would click here on the authorize button. In order to do this, we need some information from you about your Mural instance. And then you get set up for the export. And all we do is like clicking on the second authorization. Then it goes into Mural. You get authorized. And then you can send it to Mural. And when I saw this feature, I was like, oh my goodness, this is my favorite feature is getting the data back. And while this is working, you can see how it populates. And you can see it created a new Mural, and it's already populating the data. It builds a nice string of elements. And when it's done, just takes a few more minutes. Then in Mural you can mark these, all of them, and you can sort them by type. So you have your color-coded items, the 12 elements, customer jobs in yellow. You have events in blue. And all the other items. These are these are the pushes. So let me go back to the analysis tab and show you some nice other features that so what can we do with the data? We can I mean, we collected the data, we divided it up, we exported it to Mural, but you can also do something already for strategy development, which I thought is a nice feature. For example, you can run like a kind of a Facebook campaign. So, okay, let's get some ideas. So I've never done any Facebook campaign, so let's get some ideas. So you click the button. This is how it looks like. Social media campaign for Facebook, cargo bike purchase. 5 posts. That's like the standard right now. Ideas how to kind of, if you're a manufacturer or seller of a cargo bike, this is how you could kind of onboard people. And you can create your own prompt. I mean, you can modify it. You can say, okay, get me like 10 posts in Facebook and whatsoever. Let's take some questions if you have any.
Eckert, I don't have a question, but this was amazing. And it was the best example I've seen of how we can actually use AI. So I just loved it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's great. Nice to hear that.
Great, because everybody's talking about it, but people like there's so many topics out there where people talk about it, but how do you do it? And you got into here's how you do it, here's how it's going to be applicable, and it made so much sense. So thank you.
If you are interested, of course we do have an offer, and I want to show you how that looks like.
I can post it to the chat, the link, but Clara also has a question.
Oh, yep, go ahead, please, Clara.
Yes, my question is if the input is all in Spanish, the analyze and everything would be in Spanish.
Maybe Yoni, you can comment.
Yeah, thanks for good question. Yes, it analysis always comes first in the language that if you have the audio, it always comes with the language that is
Transcribed.
It just translates it. Yes, so it's in Spanish. Then further on you can translate it to any language you want. But when you go further on the analysis phases, AI still tends to want, because it's AI preferring English language, but you have always possibility to translate it back. But it is still, I would say, a bit more efficient on doing to English. So, but you can live with the Spanish language. We have tested here with these guys on German language, and it creates nicely the elements and so forth. So yes.
Okay. So
I had a college roommate who spoke English, German, and Spanish all in the same sentence.
yeah. My goodness, that can happen. Yeah.
But it's actually amazing how AI in most of the cases it doesn't care. It if you mix the languages, it still copes quite well with it. So amazing.
Yeah. If you're interested in becoming a practitioner and also to use it, we do have an offer here for beta users. It's like 50% lifetime discount on the setup and subscription fees, because we want to get users, we want people to try it out. And the only caveat maybe is that if you want to use it commercially, so in other words, not in-house, if you want to consult companies and using the software, you need to get certified, because there's so much at stake and you need to be really competently be able to moderate the whole process and handle questions and, you know, creating the right outputs. If you're in a company and you want to use it, you want to try it out, that will be told. Or for yourself, if you say, okay, I want to use this for my own business, I want to do interviews and evaluate them, you can do that too. Yeah. Cancellation is on a monthly basis. And if you're an individual, there may be the case that VAT may apply on top of the cost. So Miko posted the link into the chat, I think. All right. Any other questions? or feedback. What's this used for?
Yeah, this is incredible, Eckert. And the accuracy really impresses me as well. I've seen enough AI thus far where, like transcript translations where I go back and I'm like, this is not the notes that I would have taken as an individual, and my own individual notes and interviews are more robust. This is solid. I'm really impressed by the accuracy here.
You're absolutely right. So it's kind of just amazing what you get out of it. We are surprised ourselves every time.
Okay.
So maybe I can say that we were kind of discussing here as well that what is this really great for? And the whole process, when you see it, it's kind of a little bit of an overwhelming thing. So we just realized that when you use this, it's a booster for the whole process. So while you're still learning, you can actually start doing something. Because the main thing is that you have a good interview, and most of the people they can conduct an interview. So then you have a good basis for the data, and the data is yours. It's not from somewhere else. It's straight from the customer. It's a validated data. So I think that's the relevant point here in the whole process, that we are not making any assumptions. We know that the customers are speaking and saying because they bought the product or the service. So
I second that. I think it's a great learning tool as well. So you have always someone besides you, sitting beside you virtually, to help you as a kind of an expert to come up with the right results. So yeah, all right. Then everybody has a great rest of the day. We'll be in touch. I know some of you kind of already think about how to use this, and really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
thanks, I got great.